So here's the thing about storytelling. You know, in writing, they always tell you to write what you know. The same can be said for storytelling. Great stories can be written and told. The better you know them in your heart, the better they'll come out. But the best stories are the ones you live through yourself, the ones you experience firsthand. Here's one of those for you today. It was the spring, 2015, April, I believe. We had just finished a long day of work, and Twyla and I were driving home. Now, this was one of those days where it had been hot during the day. Upper 80s, I think. We were just beginning our summertime, coming off of the age of not summer. And on this particular day, it had been hot and muggy throughout the day, and this cold front blows in. Now, if you know anything about Texas storms, these are the worst. When it's anything above 85 degrees, and a storm and a cold front blows in, pulling storm weather with it. Horrible storms, rough. So there we are, faced with this storm, driving home, and we end up locked in that eternal debate, that one battle that will follow men and women to the end of time. What are we going to eat for dinner? So we're debating back and forth. Should we fend for ourselves at home or drive on into Jacksonville and get food? Well, we see the storm blowing in. We're watching the clouds. And as we continue to debate, well past our house, and further south into Jacksonville, we begin to see the rain fall. And then it falls harder. And then it falls harder still. It gets to the point where we can barely see the road. The lines are nothing but a blur. Headlights are doing nothing for me. All we can think is, maybe this isn't the best time to go into town and get some food. So, with that, we turn around and we decide that we're going to head on back to the house and fend for ourselves from the cupboard. Didn't have a whole lot to work with, but we made do. We get home, and luckily, as we had turned around and come back towards the house, we'd managed to outpace the clouds, so it hadn't quite hit the house yet. We go through, we feed and let the dogs out, gather up our dinner supplies, and then set up for our evening. Now, coming up, I was always a bit of a storm watcher. I love to go outside and watch the storm blow in. Got to where I could read them pretty well. Thanks, Mom. You're the one that got me into that. So I go outside, and I'm going to watch the storm blow in before we settle down for the evening. And as I step outside onto my front porch, which faces north into town, I see, as I step out on the porch, on my right-hand side, the green tint on the sky, which usually means things are right for a tornado, but it doesn't necessarily mean something's going to happen. It just means that everything's in the right place. And then as I pan left, I notice the clouds on this side were going this way. And then I look up here, and the clouds are going this way. And that tells me, oh, rotation, that's a bad thing. So I keep watching. And as I pan further left, there I see it. In the background, the brown tint of doom. Whenever you see the brown tint, that means something's going down. So, keep in mind, green means things are right but not given. Brown means run and hide. So there I'm watching the brown tint, and I see it. Slowly, the clouds begin to rotate. I see the funnel begin. And as I'm watching the clouds, Twyla comes out behind me. She's on the phone with her mom. Her mom has seen the weather and she's called us to make sure that we're okay. So Twyla's sitting there talking to her mom while I'm sitting here watching the clouds. And as I watch, I see that lower layer of clouds, the thin, wispy ones that are right up underneath. They're all pushing towards the funnel. They're picking up speed. This isn't good. So, I watch, and my heart begins to quicken. Then I see the funnel form. As the clouds on the bottom layer start to pick up speed, I turn to Twyla and I say, honey, we have to get inside now. Twyla, talking to her mom, says, Mom, I have to go. We're fucked. At that point, and by the way, that is not what you want to say to your mom when she's watching the weather and she sees storms blowing in. Bad news, not a good call. So, we rush inside. First thing we do is, where do we go? Where do we go? We're in a mobile home. Mobile homes are not exactly great in tornadoes. Matter of fact, they've got a pretty shoddy track record. So, I say, all right, the first thing we need to do is we need to go to a room with no windows. Twyla's like, well, there aren't any. It's a mobile home. There's windows in every room. You got a point. Okay, bathroom. Let's go to a bathroom. Which one? Okay, let's go to this one. It's on the front of the house. She's like, that one's the one that's closest to the tornado. I don't think that's a good idea. Yeah, you're right. Okay, so, master bathroom. We go. Gather up the dogs, carry them with. Well, Diesel is our big boy. He's about 85 pounds, but he only stands about 1.5 feet off of the ground. He's solid muscle. Whew, that boy is something else. And so as we're rushing into the bathroom, I can't bother to get him out and wrangle him into the bathroom, so I just yank his kennel and all up, he-man him out, and we go in. Now, as the storm had been brewing before we went out and saw the tornado, I had gone through and I had put a glass of beer on the altar to hail Thor and to protect us through this storm that was coming through. Standard procedure for me, go the other folk, I'd like to do that on the regular. So, I see the glass sitting there on the altar, and I go, all right, Thor be with us, here we go. Grab the animals and we rush into the master bathroom. As we're in there and we're hunkered down, 4 dogs all around us, Twyla and I hunkered over the kennel going, I don't know what to expect, but we need to be ready for this. And it's all going very, very fast. We're like, where's the cat? Oh, where is the cat? Well, luckily, the cat was under the bed. Now, the bed is a giant 4-poster bed made of solid wood. This thing is probably sturdier than the construction in the house itself. I like it, Twyla, and say, I'm not worried about the cat. If the whole house falls in on itself, he's the safest one. We should be where he's at. But we're here. So as I set the dog down, we reconcile the cat's gonna be okay, I begin to shut the door. Now, closing us into this bathroom, I shut the door, I turn around, and it's at this moment I feel it. I didn't feel the tornado pick us up, but I felt it drop us. It had picked us up, lifted us off the blocks, snatched us from the tie-downs, and then slammed us back down. The entire house shook. Things fell off of the walls. The floor rippled like a sea wave. The toilet jumps up off of the ground, and it's sitting at a 45-degree angle in its little cubbyhole. I hear the hail ricocheting off the roof like a machine gun. And then it's done. All is quiet. We sit there in shock, shaken, not sure of what's happened or what's yet to come. So, I step out, and I see what it is. As I open the bathroom door, I see things scattered about the bedroom. The damage doesn't seem to be so bad in there. I walk into the living room, and that's where I see it. The floor is buckled and waved, rolling hills in my living room. Nothing looks right. Everything feels uneasy. The floor wobbles beneath my feet. It's a very uneasy, very unsettling feeling. And then I look up, and I see what I should not see, for there, where once was my ceiling, cleft in twain, I see the sky peeking in. The entire house had been split open, right down the middle. I go and I start to try doors. The front door seems jammed. I fight and I fight and I fight until finally I get it open. And as I open the door and look out over what was our deck, I see that the house has been picked up and slammed back down on top of the deck. The deck is sitting at a 45-degree angle and the house is resting on top of it. I go to try the back door. The back door is barred shut because the side deck, which is just a little landing, had been jammed up against the door. There was no opening it. Then I look, and I see the damage around me. Things had fallen off the walls, fallen off of shelves, cabinets, broken all over. But only weird things, the things that you expect weren't on the ground. It was the weird things, like lunch boxes or oddball things throughout the house that had fallen. But then I see it. There was, on the altar, was my offering to Thor. a full glass of beer. Not a drop had spilt. It gave me chills down my spine, for in that moment I knew the hammer wielder had bested the Jotun. Though the house had taken damage, Thor, Redbeard, had protected us and kept us from ending up in the next county. At this point, we don't know what to do. We don't know where to go. So we gather up everything that we can. We load out and we go get in the car. We grab the essentials, firearms, electronics that we don't want to get ruined in the rain. Because now the rain that was on the outside is on the inside. We gather a few essentials. Necessary clothes, paperwork, just a few things that we can grab quickly, bug out type things. We jump in the car and we go. The only thing we can think of is, where are we going to go? What are we going to do? So we load up and we go to Twyla's mama's house. It's in between our house and my parents' house. So we load up, we go there, and we set up shop. We unload all the dogs, we unload what gear that we brought with us. And we begin taking stock. I call my dad, I call my brothers, say, hey, I need some help. We were just in a tornado. It took the house. It didn't take the house, it smashed the house. And I have very limited time to get out some of the essential things, and I need a pickup truck. At the time I was driving my Corvette. It did not survive the tornado. It was totaled, so rest in peace, Corvette. And so I needed my dad's truck. I needed him to come out and help me carry some things out to Chuck and Ellie's house, which was Twyla's mom and stepdad. So my dad came, one of my brothers too. We loaded up, drove back out to the house, grabbed the extra dog kennels, grabbed a few extra odds and ends that we needed. And the trip was harrying, to say the least. As Twyla and I are driving our car, Dad and my brother are in the truck. We go out and there are downed trees everywhere. There's flooded roads. It was chaos. It was crazy. We come up to our road, cutting off, heading down into the back roads. And there's a tree down in the way. This isn't going to do us any good. We've got to be on the other side of that tree to get to our house. So the volunteer fire department is out there trying to clear the way. We need to go around them, so they detour us down this side road. We hop off down this side road. Well, the only problem is, I've never taken this side road. I've lived out there for over a year. I've never thought to take this side road. I have no idea where it goes. I don't know what it does. So, why not? Let's give it a go. We head down this road and we start looking for wherever our cutoff is. Because the guy's instructions were pretty vague, I'm not going to lie. As we're going down, we see a turn that could possibly be the way. It looks like an old dirt road. I'm a little leery. So we get off on this side road, and then we realize it's not a side road. We go about 1/10 of a mile down somebody's private driveway. Not cool, not where I want to be in the aftermath of a tornado blowing through. That's how you get shot. So we load up, turn back around, and we get back out to the road. After about 20 minutes of fumbling around trying to figure our way in the dark, we finally find where this cuts back around and we can get back to our house. Drive up there, and it's dead. There's no power, there's no water, there's nothing. We begin to load out a few essentials that we need. We try to get in and see where the damage is worst in some areas. We try to get into the back bedroom that was on the storm side, and can't get the door open. So we end up kicking the door in so that we can get out a few essentials out of there. Load everything up, and then we drive that load back over to Chuck and Ellie's while we sit and wait. Well, Twyla and I sat out the next line of storms that was coming through, and it was almost as bad as the first. It was rough. One of the roads that we had come down trying to come back to Chuck and Ellie's was completely washed out. For about 1/10 of a mile across the road, it was nothing but water, flowing current, the kind of thing you're guaranteed to get swept away in. So we didn't go that way, obviously. We turned around, went back, and came a different way. As we're sitting there at the house, watching the storms, it's the middle of the night by this point. We know we're going to have a long one and then we're not going to sleep. We catch maybe a 20-minute nap. Then we get up and we decide that we need to go and sit on the house. Because I don't know if any of you have ever been around tornado areas, but one of the things you do have to be concerned about when tornadoes flow through are looters, and they like, because they will come by and raid these areas. We have some rather unsavory individuals in the East Texas area. Unfortunately, it's just one of those things. Not everybody, a select few, but enough to be of concern. So we go back out to the house and we sit and we wait. We pass the night. And as the sun begins to dawn, we look and say, all right, I think things are as safe as they're going to be. Let's load up and go into town. So we go into town, not having any real sleep at this point. Keep in mind, it's just a 20-minute power nap. And we go in, and we sit at Whataburger. We order some breakfast. And still in shock, we look at each other over our food, the sun dawning behind us, knowing we were both meant to be at work in just a few hours' time. We say, all right, let's call in, let's get to work, because things needed to be done. Well, I call into my work, tell them, hey, look, we were in a tornado. I'm obviously not coming in today. They understood. And then we went right next door to where Twyla works, because the Whataburger was next door to her work. And we meet with her boss, and we sit and visit for a little bit, show him pictures that we had taken around the property that night to tell him just how bad the damage was. We left from there, immediately started setting up storage units, the like, and I start calling in favors. I had everybody I knew that had a truck, trailer, whatever, strong back, and within a few hours' time, just putting the call out, my luck proves true. My refrain is strong, and I had a team of individuals there ready to work, ready to help us pack out, and ready to evacuate. And for the next 4 days, we evacuated everything that we owned from a storm-wrecked house. We pile it into a storage room, a locker, the entirety of your belongings, everything that you have amassed, all in one room, stacked on itself. It puts things in perspective. It was an interesting experience to look in and roll the door on everything I owned, all in one little box. And it hit us how lucky we had been, because in all of the evacuating, we went around and looked at the actual damage and see that the only thing that kept us from ending up in the pasture on the other side of the road or in the next county were the 2 tie-downs that the storm did not manage to pull out of the ground. It ripped everything up. And I don't know if you know anything about mobile home tie-downs, but they've got a solid plate on the end of a long rod. It's a couple of feet long and driven deep into the dirt. So it's no joke. That's a lot of force. The windshield from my Corvette had been picked up and slammed against the house. The insides were ruined from the rain. We knew that there was no coming back from that as far as the Corvette went, so we had it evaluated and totaled out. The damage to the house was totaling. There was no coming back from that. So we loaded out. We did what we did. We made it work. And then we began the 3-month process of living with Twyla's mom and Chuck. Thank you guys. That was awesome, by the way. And we got a new house out on the property. And then we loaded everything back in. It wasn't until we started loading things back in we really realized how much we had lost to damage, which ultimately, luckily, was not too much. Most of what we lost was to mildew damage and to just the damage of the rains. There were a few things that were damaged by the storm itself, but most of it was the aftermath, and then being shut up after a storm like that into a small box, mildew is going to set in. So we get a new house out there and we get started, and we start over. Now this is something that I look back on frequently. Some people say I tell the story too much. I say not enough. The reason for that is because in these instances, we learn what we really need to learn. We learn what's truly important in life. We learn that life is too short, and in that single instant, everything could have been taken from us. We had a hard start over, yeah, but there were so many people that had it so much worse. We were very, very lucky. And then my luck, with a capital L, was strong. And I learned that the good work and good deeds I had done throughout my life, the relationships I had fostered and built, paid off when I needed it the most. These people came to my rescue. They helped us in our time of need. They're good folk, good strong folk. You all know who you were. You know you were there. It meant the world to me, and this is my thank you to you. So keep in mind, when the sky turns green, the winds begin to blow, the clouds circle overhead. Trust in your luck. Trust in your strength. Look to Thor for protection. And hope that the Jotun misses you that time. Still here, still going strong. Hail and thank you. Have a good day.